In the evolution model, all living things share a common ancestry, and therefore similarities between all living things are expected that were inherited from their last common ancestor. Since not all living things are equally related, some are expected to have more similarities than others. In other words, there should be a pattern of similarities. So eukaryotic cells are expected to have more in common with humans than prokaryotic cells. Not only are there similarities, but a pattern of similarities.
In the creation model, humans are 100% completely unrelated to bacteria and to simple eukaryotic cells. At no point did they share a common ancestor, and so the creation model does not predict any similarities necessarily because they are completely unrelated. If there are any similarities, there certainly wouldn't be a pattern of similarities because we are no more related to one of these cells than the other.
The intelligent design model predicts that complexity is irreducible. In other words, when we consider the human eye, or brain, or genome, or whatever, it is so complex that it would be impossible for simple cells to have some, but not all, of the features of this complexity. Complexity is irreducible, and it cannot be built up slowly in stages. Simple organisms simply cannot have some, but not all of the features of complex systems found in humans. That's what the intelligent design model predicts.
As different as humans and bacteria are, our genetic foundation is the same. We both use the genetic code of DNA to transcribe RNA, from which we can translate our message into proteins that then do so many jobs in the cell. Our DNA codes are essentially the same, as are many of the mechanisms which replicate DNA, transcribe RNA, and translate this message into protein. Eukaryotes do share some features of these mechanisms which bacteria do not have. Organisms as diverse as humans and bacteria share homologous proteins. For example, both of us use globins. Human red blood cells use globin to transport oxygen, but bacteria originally used it for other things. Human muscle cells obtain energy through the same cellular respiration pathways that so many bacteria use. They are essentially the same. Although I am so much more complex than these simple cells, so much of my complexity has arisen from simply duplicating the genes that simpler organisms have. Some of the cell membrane proteins, which I use for things as complex as hormone detection and conducting electricity for nerve cells and muscle, are homologous to proteins found in one-celled organisms. All living things share some of these, and eukaryotes share even more, having cell membrane proteins which bacteria don't. My immune reactions are so incredibly complex, but so many of the features of my immunity are derived from proteins which are found in all living things. Eukaryotes share even more. In order to prevent getting cancer, I need very complex controls over cell division. Some of the genes I use are shared among all living things, even bacteria. Eukaryotes share even more.